Thank you so much. Wow, we have 111 people today. This is great thing. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for having this opportunity to be able to kind of share with you something that we've been working in the past several years, and we finally make an open source. I believe it was probably was either this year or late last year. So very excited about this. Let me start sharing some stuff so I can get some help on what I'm supposed to be talking about. Let me try clicking share screen and Google Chrome. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. And let me start presenting. Hold on one second. I think I want to present this differently. There you go. Can you guys see the slides? Yep, I think you guys can.
Looks perfect.
All right, let's get started. So yeah, thanks again for having me today. It's Friday. Hope you got your coffee on. I do. It's gonna be some workshop. I prepare some hands-on exercise if you guys want to follow along with me, or grab your coffee and sit back and watch me doing this live. And yeah, so today I'll be talking about a product called teal. And the title for today's workshop is Revolutionize Clinical Trial Data Exploration with teal. And let me move on. All right, so a little bit about me. I thought about putting a more formal picture, but hey, it's Friday, so I just put something that's, from my travel. I'm a principal data scientist here at Roche Genentech. I'm currently taking the role of leading the engineering team for teal development. Prior to this, I was a SAS programmer for a couple of years. And then I was doing an independent work on full stack web development. And then back to the good old days when we're still doing some Microsoft stuff. I was a SQL Server developer. When I'm not doing R, I do like to travel with my families. I like animals, try to meet them as many as I can. Wherever I go, there's always going to be animal interaction squeezed into our agenda. I like trying new food, and I like to follow soccer news. So very excited about the upcoming Euro 2024. So yeah, and little fun fact that's a real raccoon. It's just very fluffy and fuzzy. I just can't resist it, and that was a great experience right there. Okay, so that's about me. Let's we're not gonna go to the code right away. Let me learn a little bit about you. If you don't mind, this is the code to join the Slido. So if you open slido.com and you put that digits, and I can get started. Let's see here what I can do. I think I'm going to present. So you can just look at your screen there, and should start the. I can start the first question. Let's see here. How do I change this? All right, so let's start the first question. I want to know which country that you're joining from. If this is a word cloud questions, if you don't mind typing in, so I get a good idea where you're joining from. I think I'm supposed to click maybe show result. Oh, there you go. Sorry, guys. I just learned Slido sometimes either this week or last week, and still trying to get used to it. Awesome. Thanks so much for participating. Wow, Tanzania. My gosh. Wow. Welcome. All right. Get a couple more seconds, maybe. All right, we have about half people participated. That's okay. Let's move on to the next one. What company or institution do you work for? Again, this is a word cloud. You can type the name of your company. If you're working for academic, you can type the name of your university or school. Oh, that's great. That's great. And this really is in line with why we're trying to open source this stuff. The work that we've been working on, we are trying to collaborate and create somewhat of a common ground that everybody agrees what could be an industry standard on how we do our work. So this is very encouraging, and I'm very happy to see there's a lot of participants from a lot of different, either from industry or academics. This is really great. All right. I think it's good for me to move on. Let's move on to the next one. How would you assess your skills? And I know it's a little bit hard what does advanced mean, so I just give a little bit categories here. If you are comfortable with our packages, and you can write Shiny app, you're comfortable with the development of a Shiny app, you understand advanced art technique like object-oriented, you understand about our environments or even meta programming, that's a sign that you are an advanced user. If you're familiar with, like, the Tidyverse packages or the most common packages for data manipulation and visualization, so most, the dplyr, ggplot2, and if there's an error, then you know how to do with it, then that's intermediate. If you just install R last week because you're coming to this workshop, then welcome aboard. We'd love to have you, but that's definitely still at beginners. Great, so intermediate, that's awesome. All right, so that's very encouraging. I will go through a much either slow or medium pace in my workshop. I'm going to try to emulate what a normal user will do as they go through teal. So it'll be a lot of document readings and kind of show you where to get your hints here and there. So definitely, I think, either if most of people, or the majority of people are intermediate, and then you should be able to follow me along. I think I have two more questions. So have you created a Shiny app before? I'm just curious. Or, maybe just a very simple hello world Shiny app. If you've done that, there you go. You have it. You understand the concept of UI and server, passing into, maybe a Shiny app function or run app function. Good. And for those who doesn't know, that's fine. A lot of it will feel like a magic for you, and that's okay too. And that's the beauty of it. You don't need to know what's happening under the hood, but and still take advantage of the features and the effect of the product. Awesome, thank you. Let's move on. So this is my last question. Have you heard of teal before? I'm just want to see what my audience look like. Okay. And while I'm here, I see there's a lot of activities on chat. Let me just open it real quick. Oh, okay. So people actually typing it on the chat. I'm sorry, guys. Did I went too fast on the Slido slide? But okay. But yeah, thanks for coming to slido.com and just participating on this. Okay, well, it felt like kind of split. Some of you have heard about teal. Some of you, this is your first time looking at this, and that's okay. So that's actually just tells me, what kind of pace that I should be doing as I go forward with this. So great. I think that's the end of it. All right, so now I can come back to my slides. Hope you can still see this. All right, so for today's goal, it's gonna be about teal. So by the end of this workshop, you should know about what is a teal framework, what is teal modules, and the whole ecosystem that brings teal together. We will be doing live coding. I have several hands-on exercises. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to create a very simple teal app. We're gonna create a teal app with non-CDIS data. And of course, because the reason we created this to help our clinical trial analysts. So we're going to try to create a teal app with the CDIS data. There's some example files that we can work on. We're going to learn about filters. That's one of the major thing about teal, that we have a great filtering facility that just available for you from the get-go. I'll tell a little story about the background why we were trying to improve this as much as we can during the exercises as well. And we're going to try to explore other teal features from UI. So a lot of the teal frameworks features is like I said, it just came out of the box, and that's the beauty of it. I think this is a great use case for encapsulation. It's you just pass several arguments, you pass several modules, and you have all these beautiful features that come right for you, and you don't have to do anything to kind of add it, install it, modify it. Everything's handled from the framework. So we'll, at the end of this, or maybe during the exercise, maybe I'll squeeze in some features that you can just see it from the UI. It's not available unless you want to play around with the framework. You want to tweak the framework a little bit. Yes, you can. Everything is open source. You can always change it. But otherwise, if you're a normal user such as myself, or what I'm trying to emulate today, you're probably just going to go through the UI and experience the feature there. And also today's goal is just to have fun. So it's Friday. I'm glad we're doing this on Friday. I think it's just put me in a better mood already. So we'll go in a much in a better pace here, and yeah, just have fun. Let's do it. Expectation. So Phil mentioned about this a little bit, so that's great. I mean, I do want all of us to be respectful with each other. There's no stupid questions. There are terms and conditions that you probably have agreed on when you sign up for this workshop. So yeah, let's keep it a happy place then. We can get connected. That's also the expectation. If you're not aware already, there is a Pharmaverse Slack workspace, and we do have a teal channel there. And so we encourage, if you're using teal, join the workspace, join the channel. We can help each other. We can get feedback or ask questions and get response a lot faster. If there's a new bug, if you notice a bug, or if you think of a good new feature, let us know. We are, again, I keep saying we are open source, which is we are. So there's the issue, that's a link to our issue on teal. Just drop in a new feature request issue or bug issue, let us know. We'll look into it and we'll fix it, or we'll discuss with you what this looks like. I'm hearing some background noise, just to make sure that everybody mute their microphone.
Yep, sorry about that. I got it.
Oh,
should be good. Yep.
Thank you so much. Great. All right. So the environment will be working with Posit Cloud, and this is the environment that I've always been using for a workshop at this level. I think I can bring this. Let me open the different slide here. So code this, or you can sit back and watch me do this. So that is our environment. Why we're doing this environment? Because we're bypassing all the framework installation and modules installation, because I've done it already for you. So from this point forward, you just be focusing on how to use it and not have to worry about installation. All the materials are in GitHub. So I guess I could open this real quick and I'll pass it again in the Zoom chat. I can, right here. There you go. Everything is here, including the presentation. So I think I did make a couple last minute updates last night. So I think I pushed it, but at the end of this presentation, I mean, at the end of this workshop, I'll double check again and I'll push everything again if I haven't. So, all right. So there it is. I'll give a couple, while I talk a little bit more, you guys can start opening those assignments. All right, marketing alert. I want to play some video on about Nest, which is part of the initiative that we've done within teal. Let me share my whole screen then.
Top right somewhere, there should be, I think it says more, or it has an option for more settings. And one of those is share sound. And that's...
there it is. I see it. All right, let's give this a
Okay.
try again. All right, let's try this again.
Hi and welcome to Nest.
Is that better?
Nest is a collection of R packages
Perfect.
built for generating clinical insights. It works with various types of data and provides an efficient way to conduct complex analytics in clinical research. Nest offers a comprehensive solution to create clinical study outputs for regulatory purposes, covering a wide range of safety, lab, and efficacy analyses. Over 200 templates are available through the TLG catalog, which allows users to adapt the tools easily. Teal, a modularized R-Shiny framework, streamlines creation of web apps for interactive data exploration. With dynamic filtering, code reproducibility, report generation, and many out-of-box data visualizations, Teal offers data scientists and researchers a new way to generate insights from clinical data. Since going open source, Nest has attracted many collaborators across the world. Connect with us via Pharmaverse, GitHub, and Slack if you want to be part of this journey of accelerating clinical insights. Ready to try Nest today? Learn more on the Nest website.
All right, and that's it. Well, thank you for paying attention to that. This is, yeah, we try to promote our Nest initiative. Teal is part of the Nest products, and thanks for spending your time watching our promo video. I think Teal is only one ecosystem. We have other stuff like TLG, we have Turn, our tables, and we just want to make you guys aware of those as well. All right, so a little bit, I just have to give a little more context because some of you have not heard about teal. Really, what we're trying to do with teal, we're trying to improve the efficiency in the way our statistician work. So in the past, let me paint a scenario. If you're being asked to create some static output on overall survival, for example, you will make your code and you'll run your code, you create an output. Let's say that's like a major interim analysis, and then you have an ad hoc analysis, and somebody wants to see on progression-free survival. Okay, then you make your changes, you switch your PARM CD from OS to PFS, and then you make your output again. Maybe you copy your file, or maybe you just overwrite your current file programming, and then you make the output. And then another ad hoc analysis comes in. And this time, we want it in subpopulation. So the scenario, every time the scenario occurs, it takes turnaround time. So the idea is, would it be nice if this just happens on the go? So if you look at the video, you can switch between endpoints, and if you want to subset your data, you can do it as like so within the Shiny app, and you get your analysis right away without having to write and rewrite your code. So that was the idea. We want to build a scalable exploratory R-Shiny app. So what is teal? Teal, it's a framework. It really just a Shiny framework. A framework based on Shiny for interactive data exploration. We are applying a Shiny module techniques, and that's how we kind of make this really complex ecosystem a lot more modularized and standardized. And we also kind of break it into a specialized R packages, because there are a couple of use cases we're trying to achieve, like reproducibility, some filtering facility, reporting engine. So as we build this, we agree that it'll be a lot easier to maintain if we split it into a very concentrated package that focusing on one thing. So now we have several feature our packages that teal can use, and everything feeds into teal, and that's what makes a teal framework. And this is also for the modules. The modules is something that you can use right off the bat that provides many data summarization and visualization. So today is the workshop where I'm supposed to be a live hands-on. So I won't be talking a lot about introduction to teal, but there is a YouTube video on teal. We've been very busy this year, actually going to conferences, talk about it. You see my partner in crime here, Chendi Liao and Pavel. So Chendi is our product owner. Pavel is our chief engineering for the whole Nest products. So I put a link here for you to watch the intro to teal, where I did a demo as well. We talk about, background and more like a business aspect of why we create teal. So that's something for you guys later after the workshop to watch. All right, I'm gonna start talking now. That's 28 minutes. Let's start coding. So I'm not sure if I share my whole screen, but I'll stop sharing here and I'll share my whole screen. That'll be easier because every time I do when we do a Shiny app, it will pop up a new window. So it'll be easier to share it this way.
Hey, Donnie, we have a quick question. You want to tackle that real quick? Or
Sure.
So I think there was a question around Nest versus teal, and what's the right website for Nest?
Yeah, Nest is different. Yes. So teal, let me open. Yes. So the one that you have, am I sharing? Yes. So this is the Nest website, which is this one. So whoever found that, that's correct. You're correct. So this is the Nest website. So this is more like an overarching, the whole products that have made open source. And then we have teal, and I have the repo handy here. And this is the teal repository. So Nest is more like a website repository. Like this repository more like a website. But teal that you see here, this is the R package. Good. Thanks, Phil. Let me know again, Phil, if there's any question that you think I should address. But I really appreciate it if you do. Sometimes I forgot to see the chat.
I think that's the main one.
All right. So I think what my plan is, like, because I have several hands-on exercises file that we're gonna go through. I'm gonna stop on every single of them and just to check if there's any questions. So maybe that's a better way for me to kind of drive this. All right. So for those who are have opened the your own workspace based on the assignment workspace on Pharma First Friday today, so you would see I think you would see like this. You would just see you within a project folder, you have a code folder, and then you have presentation. So let's get into the code. So this is what we're gonna do. These 5 exercises, what we're gonna do, and we're gonna start from 1. There is an answers, but don't look at the answers. I won't look at the answers. So I'll try to code this myself live. I mean, I practice, but who knows? But I will try not to look at the answers. And what I'm trying to do is I put a lot of pointers, what I want you to think about, what question that you should be asking yourself about, and then I'll just talk that through. Okay, you guys ready? All right. So for the first one, let's make a really simple teal app. And for teal, once you load the library, so you just call library teal. That's the first thing you do. The one function that you must know is the init function. So the init function is what creates a teal app. So let's take a look at what init function is. So the init function is creating the server and UI function for the Shiny app. So again, if you are familiar with Shiny, it's from a slider, it looks like a majority of you, or maybe 75% of you know about Shiny. We need this UI and server, and this is what being passed in the Shiny app. So what the init function is constructing those 2 element, UI and server, before we pass to the Shiny app, because we have like this, all this teal activity first, And then at the end, we need this UI and server, and then that's what we pass it to the Shiny. All right, so we have some required parameters. We have a data and modules, and the other looks like, there's a default value there. So for now, I'm just going to do data, and I'm going to do module. Okay, so I know those two are the two required parameters. All right, now let's take a look at the data right away. So data, okay, a lot thing to absorb here. But the simplest way is it takes a list. It takes a list or a data frame. It would take a list of data frame as well. And yeah, let's just do that, because I will be diving into all the other different objects on the next one. But we just want to create the simplest teal app. So I'm going to make a list, and I think this should be a name list. If you read it, returning a name list. So maybe I call this dummy data. What is a very simple data? It's just an empty data frame. How about that? So that should do it. And then modules. Oops, so I did not type that correctly. It should be modules. So the modules take a list, teal modules or teal module. We'll go over what modules and module is. So these are helper function to kind of put a class in your list that has the name teal module or teal modules. There's a little word twist here between the plural and the singular. So the singular one is the one that return teal module, and inside the teal module, we're going to look at that real soon here. But the plural one is just putting a bunch of teal module together. It's just a wrapper around that singular teal module. So here, what we're trying to do is we're going to try to create a teal module, and that's what we're going to try to pass on this modules argument. So if I look at the module argument, so it takes a couple argument here. But if you notice right away, like this two, if you're familiar with Shiny module, that's what makes the module in teal. It's just the UN server is just like Shiny modules. So coming back again with module, I can pass a list, and then I know I need to, it's going to be a collection of modules. Either it could be a list or it could be modules. That's practically the same. I think we have an S3 generic method that kind of catch this. But for now, I can pass it to list. It takes label, server, UI. I don't think we need filters. I can read the requirement a little bit. Oh, that's deprecated. Okay, cool. All right, so I could put a label. I can say my hello world module, and you guys can see what this is going to look like. We're not going to do anything with the server because, again, this is just a very simple teal app, but just to show a content within our module, I'm just going to pass something very simple. We can do something like this, and then maybe tags, div, maybe I'll just say hello world, like so. Okay. All right, so let's run this. Let's see what that looks like. Great. So the label that I put my hello world module, that's actually going to be the tab for that module. And the UI that I said hello world, that's the content of the module. So it works. So I have created a very simple teal app, and this is what it looks like. For those who are familiar with the teal framework or teal app before you come to this, you might wonder, wait a second, I thought there's supposed to be a filter panel on the right-hand side. And if you're asking that question, and that's a great question. So the reason you don't see a filter panel here is because the data that we pass is just a simple list of data frame. We did not change that data into what we call a teal data or teal data set. And that's why when we look at that init function just now, you see there's a lot of documentation about teal data and teal data set. So because we didn't construct this in a way that teal understands on how your data the content of your data, that's why you don't see those filter panels. But we'll fix that in a second here. So for the next one, so the next exercise, we're gonna try to play around with some non-CDIS data, and hopefully we can structure our data into a teal data object that we can see some filter panels there. Let me stop here. I'm gonna see if there's anything.
A couple notes here. Let me just see if there's anything. So one person said, how did you get the help page for init? And then someone posted that with teal in it.
Yes, yes. You should load the library teal. As you see here, if you run that first line first, then you can do a question mark. You can do init. Then it will show you the help page. You shouldn't be installing anything at this point because I have installed everything for you. Can I increase the font size? Of course I can. Sorry about that. Thank you. There you go. How about that? Great. Let's see if there's any other questions. Teal not available. Is anyone else having issue by loading library teal?
Occasionally people will work locally, and
locally.
Yeah, I suspect that might be happening here. I'm going to give that person a link to the cloud space so that they can join.
Please. Yep.
Just due to the nature of the workshops, we don't typically help too much with the local installations during the workshop. So
yes, that'll be great, Phil. Thanks so much. Yes, if you want to follow along, please do use the workspace so we can save time. Okay, locally it's not happening, but we can do it in cloud. Okay. Interesting, because we do develop this and test it. I test stuff locally too. I'm in the cloud, still have the problem. That's interesting.
I'll play around with it. Go ahead and I'll see if I can see if anything's happening.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the next exercise then. I did not delete this. Let me delete this first. I thought I deleted this. This is what happened when you try to prepare things last minute yesterday. All right. So this is our second file. What we're gonna do here is, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build in from what we've done previously. And I put the notes here for myself so that I can talk it through and just make sure you guys understand it as well. So if we playing with the non-CDIS data, and then now we really want to get the full advantage of the teal framework, that means the data that you pass in has to be in the format that that teal looking for. So if I open again, I've been opening the init file, so it should be here on the help. Here we go. Okay, so here it says that the data it should be an R6 object returned by several wrapper function here or constructor. So because we're doing non-CDIS data, I'm going to start with the teal underscore data and data set, and that's the combo. And I'll explain a little bit more what the other combo is, which is CDIS data and CDIS data set. So here I'm going to use teal data. So the teal data is if you look, let's look at the documentation then. Teal data, or I can just click here right away. So this is a universal function to pass a data to teal application. It takes several arguments here. A lot of them are defaulting, but on the ellipsis here, it's actually taking what we call a teal data set object. I'm not going to cover a connector. We're just going to look at this for now. So the constructor to make a teal dataset object is dataset. So that's the constructor. So from here, I know, okay, well, I need to make a dataset here, and I'll just wrap it around teal data. If I open data set help page right here. So there's a couple information. I want to look for a data frame, right? Because I'm just working with a simple non-status data frame. Here, I got a couple arguments. These two are required. The rest seems to be to have some default value, so we will skip that for now. The data name and X. Data name is a given name is a character value, a given name for the data set. It cannot contain space. So because I'm planning to use iris and empty cars, which is a data frame that's just available for you from base R. So I'm going to call that. I'm going to be iris. And then the X is the object which the data set will be created. So that means it's going to be an iris object. And that's it. I'll talk about the code later in the later exercise, but that's also something important. So I have one for iris. I'm going to do another one for empty cars so that we can have more than one data sets here. Okay. So I'm done with my data. So when I run this app, this is going to show me this data. It's going to return a teal data object. Let me prove it. So, and I usually do this when I'm debugging. You could highlight a lines of your code here, and if you could, for me, it's Command Enter, and you can I think for Windows probably Control. So if you do this right, and if I just look at my data object, right? So here you got like some a default print behavior from this object. It's just saying that this is a teal data object. It has 2 teal data sets. Okay, so if I look at the class of the data, then you see, okay, yeah, that's a teal data. It's an R6. So if it's an R6 object, then if I look at the method, then you get all this beautiful stuff. I'm digging a little bit deeper here, but my point is, this object has a lot of methods that helps teal to create the UI and server later on as teal kind of put it together. And this is that magic that's just happened behind the scenes. And like I said, this is one of a great use case for us to use a more advanced techniques in Shiny or in R programming. All right, the modules. So for the modules, we're not going to try to create a Shiny module here because there's already a lot of modules, teal modules that available for me to use. And for today, for this workshop, for this exercise, we're going to use a module from teal modules general. So if I open, so I load this already, right? So if you see me doing this, what I'm doing is I'm just highlighting it and I press Control Enter and that runs it right away. I think some people can do this and they play around with the run app for each line. That's okay too. I like the shortcuts way. So if you load that already, and I can go to teal modules general help page, and if I look at the index, it should give me like a lot of different modules. Some of you might like looking at this way. Some of you might look at the straight from the vignettes on the repo website, and it doesn't matter. You can choose whatever you want to see. The reason I like to see it this way is that I can just click that right away, and I don't want to go back and forth between my tabs or browser. I just want to work on one platform. So for this example, we're going to use a modules called tm_data_table. I know a little bit about this module. It's using a DT package to create the tables. So you can see here. So there's some argument that you can use to pass an extra argument to the DT data table. But let's look at the main arguments here. So we have a lot of default values. So maybe I don't need to pass anything. I'm just going to pass. I'm just going to change the label because the label is what's going to show you on the modules tab, like with what we did earlier with the Hello World. So maybe I'll just do that. So I know this, again, just to recap, this could be a list or this could be modules like this. And then I'm going to call TM data table. There you go. I like the the IntelliSense here in RStudio, just trying to auto-complete this. So if I type label, right, I can say that my data table. Oh, actually, I already put what I already kind of plan what I want to do. Data table module. How about that? There you go. All right, so let's run this. All right, great. Look at that. Now we have the filter panel now. Again, just with a couple lines of code, you pass your data, you pass your module, you got some filter panel. You can subset your data if you want to. You can move it around. You can, within this module, this is a very simple module. It's just displaying the content of your data set and also allowing you to select what column that you want to look at. So here, because I did not specify what column that I want to look at in the beginning, the documentation did ask you if you want to select a couple columns. If you don't specify it, it's just going to pick the first 6 columns. Yeah, the first 6 variable, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So you can add more columns here, or you can drop here, or just select everything. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, a couple lines of code. You can get make some module that shows your data sets. And the cool thing is that you can also see active filter summary that shows you how many observations left after you do your subsetting. Okay, let me see if I miss anything. Oh, we forgot to change the header. Let's change the header. Let me stop this. Let's change the header. So header is actually an argument after this header. And I'll just change that to on Pharma Teal Workshop. There you go. That looks nice. All right, you guys get the point. Let me move forward then. Oh, let me stop. I'll see if there's anything being chat in the chat. Okay. Yep, you can. Yeah, if you want to just click run app, you can too. That should be, I don't know why it says checking install packages.
It may just been because you were running stuff. Sometimes when you see something like that, you can just refresh the page and it will clean some stuff out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but you should be okay otherwise.
All right. Okay, here we go. Somebody asking about how to load local data set. Yep, the next example, I'll show you that. How to let user input their own header is like this. This is, oh, you want user to input it, like as in when they're using the app? I don't think there's a way for us to do it. This is something the developer have to do it behind, when you're developing this. I'm not sure if I get that question correctly or not, but yeah, if you want to put the header, that's where you put this. No, teal doesn't stand for any. There is not like a pretty acronym. We just call it teal. I think in the beginning, with the one that developing this really like birds, but yeah, we just call it teal. Yes, we can put content into one tab panel, but if you're doing the module way, there's already a set way on what you put on your content. So I think you a little bit going to maybe like a Shiny module development, which I'm not going to be covering today, could be for the next session. But yes, if you make your own module, if you want to have a specific content for your module, that's definitely the way to go. There is a TM front page that we have, which is a module of just a UI, nothing going on with the server, where you can just specify what this app is about, giving some background. I can show you. I hope that's what you're asking, but let me see. So if I go to index, it's this one, the front page module. So it just gives you some example about like, if there's any information that you want people to be aware of before they use the module, you can put it here. So ideally, you'll put this at the very front of your, the first tab of your teal app, so that because that's the first thing that get loaded. Whatever on the first module that you mentioned here, that's the first thing that's user will see and being loaded by teal. So if you put a front page there, then that's the first thing that it's gonna see. So it's more like informational kind of tab. Okay. For sure, not Novo Nordisk. I watched the presentation. I think they have their own ecosystem for the I think it's called an biostats or something. I'm not sure about the others, but yeah, I think I may have to get back to that. I don't believe this was being used. I think maybe in the process, perhaps, but Shiny in general, I think it was being used for FDA's kind of pilot submission.
Dony, one thing I will add here is that there is a pilot submissions group that has done a couple different pilots in collaboration with the FDA. The first was just an R-based pilot, and then the second one was on Shiny. And I do believe they use teal, and I'll put some links to that in the chat box.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm not too connected on that. I know there's some action going on there. Thanks, Ning. Yes, thanks, Ning. So yeah, thanks for providing that information. Okay. Let's move forward. We're going to go to default filters. All right. So with this one, we're going to add filters now. So imagine the scenario where you have users and they've been using your teal app, and they kind of know what they want to do for their modules. They already know that what filters they're going to put in when they use the app. And they've been repeating this every single time, and they tell you, hey, can you just put these filters by default when I load the app? And the answer is yes, we can do that. So let's go back to the init page again, and you'll see me always coming back to init. And this is what I hope you guys will be doing as well, as you kind of look around and figure out how to program your teal app. Then you read this documentation, and hopefully it's clear. If it's not, let us know. We'll try to make it clearer, or shout out to us and if you're able to reach us on Slack. All right. So for filters right now, it looks like it's passing something called teal slices. And let's take a look at the documentation about filters. All right. Filters can be specified using teal slices. And then you have to do it with teal slices here. Oh, wait. So that's the one that I want to push. That one I want to open. So the teal slices is actually a wrapper around this ellipsis. So let me look at what ellipsis is. This is any number of teal slice object. Okay. So there must be a constructor for this, and I believe it's called teal slice. There you go. So if you look at the examples, it shows you a little bit of, it tells you a little bit on how to use it. So I know for my filters, it takes teal slices, and within teal slices, it's going to take teal slice, like so. So, and hopefully you see there's some kind of pattern here. Like we always wrap whatever the lower level of your object to another bigger level. So we have a teal data and data set, and we have teal slices and teal slice, modules and module. So you get used to that kind of pattern, because this is what the building blocks that we're trying to build, and we try to keep on sticking with the same framework. All right. What does teal slice needs? Let me see here. Okay, so we're not there yet. I'm going to open the teal slice documentation. If you notice here, actually, like when I pass around this different help page, right? Some of the help page is coming from a different package. This function coming from teal slice. That's teal.slice package, but we never load that package. So far, we only been loading teal modules general, and you probably guessed it already, and you're right, because teal module generals are using teal framework. So when you do load teal module general, it loads teal frameworks, including teal, teal.slice. This data that you see here is from teal.data. So you don't need to know. I guess the take is, if you want to know the detail, sure, that's great. The teal framework, I'll give some. There's going to be a link on the slide where we see the product maps, and you can read about this different elements, what makes teal framework. But if you just want to use the modules, this is the quickest and fastest way for you. Just load teal modules general and pass your data argument there, modules argument there, and some filter arguments there. And if you do want to look at the help page, and if you just do like this without declaring the package, it'll just load right away. All right, sorry, a little bit sidetracked there. So teal slice, what does it need? Okay, there are a couple arguments here. Because I've been working on this, I know these two are somewhat optional, and you can read that later, and I will be demonstrating what these two are for. But the most important argument is these two, the data name and var name. And then if we have some default value that we want to put for the slice, then we provide that. The way that you want to think of a slice is more at variable level for now. We'll go to this later, but for now, if you want to subset your data based on a specific column, and that's exactly where you want to use teal slice for. All right, so I put some information here, what I want to do today. I'm going to add default filter on iris. That's the column. And notice that there's no default on what I want to be selected, and that's okay. We don't need, if there's no default, but you always want the filter to show, to save user couple click on adding the filter to your to the filter panel. That's okay. We don't need to specify any specific values. So the data name will be iris. So the data name is just every time you see data name, it's a character. It's a character value. So that's the name of the data set. The var name is going to be the name of the variable, also a character data type. So here I'm just going to say sepal length, like so, and that's it. That should be it. I don't need to do anything else. Let's double check. Let's run this and double check. There you go. So we have some information about this. So if I open it, yep. So that saves my user a couple clicks. They don't have to go through down here and select it and then play around. So that's 3 clicks. We save 2 clicks for my users. And we can do this the same with the other data sets as well. So just double checking if this exists. So that looks good. I'm going to go through all of this then. We're going to add default filters on iris species column. This time we want a selected value Virginica. So if I just copy that, I love copy pasting. So let's do species here. All right, so this time we want to add default values. So the selected is what you need. So selected equal Virginica. All right. Let's just double check again. You know, as probably what you're doing too, just to see what's going on as you progress. So that's there. That still looks good. Perfect. Now user can use these 2 filter cards. This is, so with the August release, we also release a new behavior to our filter card visualization. You know what? To make it clear, let me run this again so you guys can pay attention to and see this correctly. So if I expand this, right? So right now we have 50. It just says 50 here. This is a number of observation that has species with Virginica value. So if you look at this, there's 150 observation. So 50 is Virginica, 50 is versicolor, 50 is setosa. So this is just saying that there are 50 observation with Virginica value. We added a new functionality and we call it the count type, right? And I'll switch to the the teal slice. I think, was it before teal slice? There it is. So this is the teal slices one. That's the argument for count type. If you read it, this is the documentation. The difference between a none, which is the default value, and all will give you two numbers now. It will give the number of observation in filtered and unfiltered data set. And I love this. So let me just show you what this looks like. So I'll set the count type to all. And this is not a teal slice. It's not an argument of teal slice, but argument of teal slices. Okay. So let me run this. As you can see, there are two numbers here. So if you can see here too, there are two colors here. So because we set our subset data in Virginica, this actually reflected what the filtered data look like. So because we have subset in species, the gray color is the one is visualizing for unfiltered data, while the blue color is what you have left in your data set now. So so if I make it like this, for example, that actually will affect my Virginica. So now it's saying that out of 50 observation, there's only one observation within this sepal length. So I like this a lot. I think this is a great addition to make the data observation interpretation a lot clearer. So, okay, let's move on. We got 4 more things to do with this exercise. We're gonna add the default fixed filter on empty card. Okay, default fixed filter. This is another behavior that we added on our teal slice. I'll press forward here. I switch to the teal slice documentation, and this is the one that I'm gonna tackle. So what fixed filter does is that if you add a filter with fixed equal true, you kind of lock the selection for that variable. So let me show it to you. Let's copy this again. I think this time we're gonna play with empty cars. So the data name will be empty cars. What is the column? Cylinder, okay. Like so, we have selected value 6 and 8. So because there are 2 value here, I'm just gonna pass a vector 6 and 8, right? Now I know this is gonna be fixed filter. I'm just gonna say fix equal true, right? So let's run this. So that's the one that we just added. So if I click on this card, yeah, there's no way for you to change the selection. It's just fixed. If user doesn't like this, if they don't like it, they can remove it, right? I'm gonna take this opportunity to demonstrate the other feature that we added, what we call a snapshot manager. And what we call a filter manager, right? So if users say wants to restore whatever the filter that was here before, there are 2 ways they can do this. One, they can either come to the snapshot manager and they click this button. So this will restore back that filter card. In the past, in order to do this, user will have to reload their teal app. So now they no longer need to do that. They can just restore the app to initial state. Or what they could also do, they can click this plus sign and they just click that and just add it right away again. Okay. I'm gonna dwell a little bit more on the snapshot later when we get to the end of our exercises, because there are a couple of things that I want to highlight. But just be familiar with the snapshot manager and filter manager. Again, this is nothing that you would control. It just come out of the box. Well, unless you want to touch and help us with the teal framework development. But from user perspective, you don't need to worry about this. It just comes out of the box for you, including all the filter panels and the features within it. Okay. All right. So another behavior here, what we call an anchored filter. So the anchored filter, an anchored state is where you just want the filter subsetting to be there, but then you still let user have the freedom to select what they want, the value that they want to subset within that variable. It cannot be removed, and that's why it's anchored. So let's do that. I'm just copying this again. Anchored filter, empty cars gear column. So gear, there's nothing selected. So I guess we can remove this. And instead of fix, now we'll call it anchored. All right, let's run this again. There you go. I can click on it. I can change what subsetting that that I want to do for this data set. If I remove it, that stays there, right? Can't be removed. Can't be removed, right? So I can, if I restore it again, yep, still there as well. Great. I hope that's quite straightforward. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, now that we have a fixed filter and anchored filter, why not do both? We can do both fixed and anchored. Let's do that. So now we're gonna be doing fixed on transmission. So that has to be the empty cars. Selected value 1. So that's to represent the manual transmission like this. So we want both fixed and anchored. So just set both of them true, like so. So let's rerun this again. There you go. You can click on it. You can see, like how fixed filter behavior, you cannot change the selection of the value. And also with the anchored behavior, you cannot remove it. So if I try to remove it, yeah, that stays there. Okay. Finally, we get to the end, and this is custom expression. Now, if you have more than one variable, let's say 5, you could do it one by one if you want, but it could be more efficient if you use our expression argument here. So this is where teal slice will just take whatever that you specify in your expression and just run it. It doesn't even try to populate like selection, because who knows, maybe you try to touch 2-3 variables at a time. So you just take an expression and run it. So let me demonstrate that. This time we're going to do it on iris. And then this is the expression. So let me take this whole thing out. We don't need to declare the var name for expression, and you can read that in the documentation. The var name, if you try to provide a var name, it will give you an error saying that, yeah, you don't need a var name when you use expression. So we're just going to call expression. And I prepped this for myself so that we can do this quick. Then the 2 other things that we need, well, one other thing is ID. Maybe I'll just call it custom iris. And then you can add a title to it, and we'll see what that looks like. The title, maybe I'll just say my custom iris. Okay, I'll put a comma there. I'm gonna run this again. So far, so good, guys. I haven't got any error messages, so I guess we're doing okay. All right, here we go. So this is the expression. I'm trying to click on it. There's nothing there, which is by design. We don't need to show like the selection like we see here, because chances are there's going to be more than one variable that you're touching. You can remove it, right, if you want, and then if you change your mind, you can restore it. Oh, that's a bug. So we fixed that already. So I'm taking the stable, but we know about this issue. But it should store it right away. But yeah, so that's great. So we can do the custom expression. So this is something that we've been working for the past 16 weeks, I believe, for the filtering. We just want to have a really solid filter panel behavior and features for our teal app. And with that, I think we've done all of these exercises. So let me stop here. We got 2 more to go. It's about an hour, 12 minutes so far. Let me check our chat for the filtering. We just want to have a really solid filter panel behavior and features for our teal app. And with that, I think we've done all of these exercises. So let me stop here. We got 2 more to go. It's about an hour, 12 minutes so far. Let me check our chat. Yes. So the demo for joining 2 or more tables, I think I'll cover that next time because it does require for you to understand on join keys. And I did thought about this. I think it's going to be too much for an intro like this. So because most of the time we'll be working with CITES data, I do want to focus on that first. But that's a good question. I can answer this separately after this workshop. Yeah, I can answer that separately after the workshop. Selected observation. Snapshot will not allow. Will snapshot allow a download of selected observation? No. What the snapshot does, it takes as a state of all your filter panels, like whatever state that you put in. And I haven't demonstrated this yet, but I'll demonstrate it later when we make this teal app. But Snapshot Manager is a functionality where people can restore and save their filter states. Can we add a footnote or title under data table module? If the module is designed with that flexibility, yes, we can. But I have to check on the documentation for that specific module to see if it's allowed. I think some of the module does allow that, but I could be wrong. We have a dedicated developer that's only doing the teal module, and my team is only doing teal framework, and that's why it's the framework that we have now is great. Like it just separate between the 2 development, and we can focus on one thing at a time while still making sure that everything is integrated together. But yeah, so to answer your question, if the footnote or title for that module is being exposed in the module function argument, I believe you can. But if it's not, then maybe that's a user enhancement feature. Okay. Sorry, I think I answered question on the bottom. Let me scroll up a little bit. Means can we use sepal length species in teal slice package rather than duplicating the code? Not quite sure what that means, but if you think that there's more efficient way for us to do this, ask us a question on GitHub. Maybe I can answer that better. Okay, maybe I'll move forward for now. I know I'm not handling all the questions, but I just want to be sure. You can reach out to me again at the end if you want. But I think I should move forward. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'll take a sip of my coffee first. I know I've been talking for a while, but it's been good exercise for me, and I hope you guys are enjoying this as well. All right, so now we're moving to a big one, the CITES data. Okay, all right, cool. So, you always start with init, you always start with data modules, and I put some header here so that I can get started. We have a lot of instruction going on here. Okay, so for this one, CITES data, because Roche, we're a pharma company, most of our use cases related to our internal team when they do some analysis. So we do have a module that focusing on clinical trial, and this is also include reading clinical trial data. And the modules that we're going to use here is going to be from teal modules clinical. So if I copy that and load it here, oh, maybe I should load the library first. There you go. I'll load the library first, and I'll run that. So most of the modules here on teal modules clinical is providing standard clinical trial outputs. And there's a lot of option of what you can choose here. There's some, let's see here. Everything that's up with TM, the TM stand for teal modules. So we have some KM plot, MMRM, if you're familiar with mixed model repeated measurements. There's a patient profiles and all of this stuff. And we have a documentation to show you what this looks like. And we also have teal gallery to show you what this looks at, which I will cover later in this workshop. Okay, so couple things that we want to do. I put some instruction here. I want to showcase the example data from teal module clinicals. If you don't want to use real data, which what we will do today, we're just going to use example data. So if I do data package equal teal module clinical, you can see we have several data examples here. So this is just a dummy stuff for us to play around with. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get data from TMC. We're going to name it ADSL, ADAE, and then time to events. So let's do that. So ADSL, we can call it from teal modules clinical, and it will be TM, what was the name again? TMCEX, okay, TMCEX ADSL. Let me take this out. All right, let's take a look. Does that work? Yep, that works. Cool. So now I just need to repeat this again for ADAE and ADTT. So ADTT, like so. All right, let's double check. There you go. Good. All right, so now it comes to our favorite function, the init function. Let's go back here again, because I don't know if you recall, right? Like I was saying, you know, we with the non-CITES data, we pass this teal data and data set. And because we know, you know, the reason we create teal is, you know, to be used for clinical trial, we actually made a helper function that's kind of wrapped around that teal data, teal underscore data and data set constructor. And with that, we call it CITES data and CITES data set. And it really is, it's just a pair again, like what you see with the data. So you're just going to do it like this, and you're just going to code like this. All right, so let's take a look at the documentation. For the CITES data, we look at this, it's really, really similar. If it's not, because it's just inherits the class from the teal data. Is also expected teal data set. But if you want to do for CITES, we recommend we're going to use a CITES data set as your constructor to create teal data set object. So if I go to CITES data set here, it's the same thing. You're just going to pass the data name, which is the name of your object. X is going to be the object itself. The only difference is we prep the join keys for you. We join all the tables together for you so that you don't have to do it, because CITES is quite standard data model. It's clear what is the primary key and foreign key. And so we do that for you. And that's what's so great about it. So for this, I'm going to call ADSL. This is going to be ADSL like so. All right, I want to go over about this code argument. So the code argument is for us to tell teal what is the code to create your dataset object. And so why we do this is because if the module using the reproducibility aspect of the teal framework, then it will pull that code. It will add it to the module, to the analysis code that's happening inside the teal module. And then there's a button, or there's a feature where you can click a button and it'll show you all the code. And by doing this, you're adding the content on how to obtain your raw data, like whatever data object that you pass here. So if you're doing any mutation, you're doing any manipulation with your data prior to passing to the init function, you should be including that there. I'll make it clear in a second here. You'll see what this is going to look like, because we will be playing around with a module that has that reproducibility aspect of teal framework. So follow along with me for now. So I'm going to code right here. So all I'm saying is that this is the code to create your my ADSL object. And we're just going to repeat this two more times. We're going to do the same with ADAE and AD time to event. So I'm on a streak here. I don't think I get any error so far yet. There you go. There you go. All right. So that looks good. You know, because I'm so used to this already, sometimes what I like to do, I just run this. Looks like, oh, there you go, argument. It's because there's comma right there. It doesn't like it. That's fine. And again, perfect. So that means that's argument is fine. And I know everybody might have their own way to debug their code, but usually when I work through arguments like this, I like to just run it, just make sure that my helper function is okay. All right. So the next thing is we can add a module. This is going to be a demographic table for ADSL, and we're going to generate the table using a module from teal modules clinical called TMT summary. Okay, let's take a look at that documentation, what that looks like. And in the meantime, I know, again, just on how to make the modules, I'm going to wrap it within modules, and I'm going to call some module here. I'm going to call some module here. I don't need to do module anymore because we're going to be using directly from one of our teal modules, our packages. All right, so I'm going to use this. I know I'm going to use TMT summary. Let me put that in first. Then I'll prep for whatever argument that's necessary. Okay, so we got two required argument. Oh, for those who are still new with our, the reason I know this is a required argument is because there's no equal sign like this. So if there's no equal sign like this, that means there's no default value. And that's how I know this is a required argument. Okay. So I know a required label and data name. Let me check real quick what those are. They're both character type. So I know it's going to be string, label. Okay, yeah, so it's the same. The label is the one that's going to show on your tab, whatever label here, whatever string that you put here, it'll show on your tab. This I'm going to say demographic table. I think that's what I put on my notes. There we go. Now, the data name. So we want to run this on ADSL. So the data name will be ADSL. And if you notice, because this is character, but it should match the one that you pass in your CIDIS data. So that's the data name for ADSL. You have to have it match, otherwise the module won't work. Oh, there's some linting there. We'll add some there. Okay. All right. What else? We don't need to worry about the parent name because we're working with CIDIS data. Unless you want to do something special, you can do that. But there are two more arguments that's needed: arm variable, and summarize variables. So let me put those two in for now, and so we can read the documentation. Okay. Maybe at this point you're like, why? What is this for? What is the arm variable for? What summarize variable for? What we're trying to do is we're trying to create some what is it, like parameters on your module. So the module's designed so that you can switch between different arms. You can also summarize your analysis with using different variables. That's what this module designed for. If you're unsure what the module looks like, you can always run these examples down here, so you at least have some idea of what the module looks like before you I felt like sometimes that helps me understanding the arguments. So feel free to do in that order. But if you look at the arm var here, I'm not going to touch data extract spec, but I know that most of the time, most module needs what we call a choices selected object. And if you look at the examples down here, it's always required choices selected. So what this does is that it just takes two arguments. One is what are the choices for user to choose, and what is the default value for user to see when they first load the app. That's what it is. So if I say choices selected right here, right? There's only two arguments, always two argument, choices and selected. That's it. So I put some notes, what I want to choose. Yeah, okay, for the arm var, it's going to be for arm CD. Let me come back to this up again, making sure that I don't miss anything. There you go. Arm and arm CD. So let's add that in. Because there are two choices, we're going to make that a vector, wrap this between double quote, right? So that's the first one. And then we're going to provide some default value, which is arm. So let's put that in. Okay. I can't run the app yet because I still haven't done all my required parameters yet. So to summarize vars, also choices selected. Let's do that. Again, it's going to be choices and selected. There we go. Let me see. These are the choices. I already put this between quotes, so that's cool. Again, because if we have a couple of them, we'll pass it as a vector. And this time, I think we're going to select couples default value as well. So sex and race. So let's put that within a vector. Okay. I don't think we need this because that's the end of it. We're not going to add any more argument to TMT summary. Everything else seems to have a default values. And this is the only module, so I don't need to put comma there. That's a header. Let's run it. There you go. So we have some demographic table module here. You see a lot more feature now. There's a reporter feature. There's a show our code feature. So let's take a look at that. I want to demonstrate the show our code first and kind of tell you why we do that code stuff for our data set. So for reproducibility use case, we have created this feature where user can reproduce what they see in their teal app on their local session, assuming they have similar data. So the data set, when we add that code argument, is this one right here. You only see one because this module only using ADSL. And you notice that it's being hashed. So this is our way to be very defensive about making sure this is fully reproducible and we are talking about the same data. So we hash them, we provide some comparison, making sure that when you run this locally, we're talking about the same data set. Let me demonstrate this. So if I copy this to a clipboard, and this is what the table looks like. Just recall 69, 73, 58. So if I stop this session, if I open a new one, do that, right? So if I run this, there you go. It's the same table. I won't be talking what happened behind the scene, but really what we're doing is that we don't evaluate them right away. So what happened within teal, we have a special environment where we kind of keep on building this this code to create the analysis and to read your data in this environment. And then when we're ready, when that feature being clicked, when button being clicked, we just giving it back to the user. And that's how we can provide this code and enable user to reproduce it in their own local environment. Okay. So let's see. All right, so we had a table. Let's add some visualization, and then there are a couple topic here that I'm going to explain as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to add is TMT events module. So let me open that documentation. All right, so this is adverse event table. This is another table, so, but I do want to touch a couple other helpful functions that we can do here. All right, so this is the second module. So because this is a second module, we have to put our module within the modules. So I'm going to put a comma here. That's the second one. Okay. Hope you see some pattern here. The first always label and data name. Okay, so that's label here. I think did I ask? Ah, there it is. We'll just call it adverse event table. Very simple. And then data name is going to be ADA. Okay. All right. What else? What else do we need? Var, which is the same. And then we also have high level term. This is what HLT stands for. And this is the low level term. So we'll do that. Let's do Var first. Choices. Oh, this is the same with the other one. So if it's the same, then let's just copy paste this. Oops. There you go. All right. So let's do high level. Oh, I'm doing low level term first. That's fine. Okay, well, so we'll do the low level term first. And it's always going to be choices selected. So let's look at the documentation. It's choices selected. Yeah. So choices selected. Oops. And then, so if it's choices selected, there's always two argument choices and selected. All right. Okay, I want to see you, I want to show this cool stuff about another helper function. So one way we can do this, is that I have some notes here about variable choices, but let me show you the difference if we don't use it. So one way we can do it is like this, right? Like just how we do it with the ARM variable. This is going to be selection that user can choose from. And this is going to be what the default is being selected. So I can do this. Oops. All right. And I'll come back to this low level term later. And also the high level term, because I think that we also want to do variable choices, but I'll come back to this. So this is very similar. It's just that we're touching a different variables. So maybe to save time, I'll just, I'll copy this line, right? And it's going to be high level term, but we're calling two new variables. This is or I forget what it stands for, body organ, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. All right. So here's what I want to show. Okay. So far we're just using this choices selected, really the same what we've done with the ARM variables. I think that's all the required argument. Yep, that is all. So I don't need this anymore. That looks good. Let me run this. And we have a second module, right? So the first one's demographic. This is our adverse event table. Perfect. So look at that. All right. So if you see here, when on my high level term and low level term, it just say the variable name. If you reading a data set that has a label to the variable name, that's when you use variable choices. The variable choices helper function, it will extract the label for that variable. And this is the syntax to do that. Let me do that for you. So the variable choices will be passed in the choices argument. So we're going to do variable choices like so. I'll open the documentation. Oops. Right. So what we want is this one. So we're just going to provide a data, which is the data frame itself. So this is not a character type anymore. So you know what? Instead of doing this, I'm just going to comment this. I'm just going to do a new line. Choices like so. So it will be ADS. Sorry, it's not ADS. So ADAE, right? So the subset is going to be subset, a vector of column names. Okay, so it's going to be AE term and AE decode. Like so, and of course on the bottom you can see the example as well. So if I do it like this, and I'll do the same with the other one, because maybe I just want to present a more clear content on my apps before users selecting their parameters. And most of the time, if you're working with a stakeholder that doesn't understand Atom model, that's also, these label also helpful for them. So instead of that, because I'm copying this, let me copy this over as well. Okay, all right, you guys ready? Let's see what this looks like. Look at that. Now we have a label with our selection. It's a lot more clear for those who are not familiar with the Atom model, and that goes with this as well. And guess what? We can do the same with this too if we want. It's just a matter of passing the variable choices helper function in your choices argument that like I demonstrated before. Okay. All right, that's great. Did we make everything? We have one more. Our most favorite one, the Kaplan-Meier plot. Let's do that. Let's pull this in. Okay, so I know we're going to use that module. So let's take this, right? Let's see what are the required. Guess what? It's always label and data name. So I think the label, I'm just going to put key and plot. I'm just going to use positional argument here. And then the data name will be a time to event. And what else? OnVar. Okay, we need OnVar. It should be the same one. Yep, it's the same one. Or maybe we add one more. Agarm CD. That's fine. So I guess I could take this out. Copy that again. And then like arm CD, like this, right? And select that arm. This one, value choices. Okay, so this is another helper function. Just like variable choices, we also have value choices. And let me demonstrate when you want to use this. So this is for Parm CD. So in this module, for ADTTE, right? So let me do unique ADTTE Parm CD. So within this module, they want to give user the ability to select the different parameters in their data set. So this is more about the value in the variable, not so much of the variable selection, right? So because so far, like what we've done here, this is where we select different column, but now we want to select the value in within a specific column. This Parm CD is just referring to the column here. So if you want to do, and again, I guess a little bit about this is understanding what the module is. You need to know the meaning of this argument, and of course you can read that to here as well. And then the examples really does help also, like so, right? But let me demonstrate this. For the Parm CD, it takes choices selected, right? Choices selected like this. Choices selected. And then if it's a choices selected, you always have choices and you always have selected, like so. All right. So one way to do this is that, all right, well, I want the choices to be this. Yeah, that's one way to do it. But the simplest way to do this, you can use our helper function called value choices. So the value choices will do that for you and will pull the label, just the same behavior with variable choices. It will pull the label based on the other variable name, because the parm with Atom data set, we have parm cd that gets all the code, but then we also have parm, the one that explain what the code is, right? So that's when you're going to use variable value choices to make it easier for you to pull these two information and display it together. It'll be a lot clearer once I'm done with this. So TTE. So the data, the data is not a string, it's a data frame. So take that. And then variable choices. Okay, so the choices is a character. So the choices will be parm cd. So that's what I wanted them to see, is just the code, but I do want to give some label to what the code means. And that's when I say param like this, vector label column names. Okay. And the selected one, I think we're gonna pick overall survival. Okay, so selected is overall survival. All right, I think I prepped a couple more setup here. Oh, because that's also required parameters. So let me come back to the game plot. We have armvar, parm cd, and there are two more here, stratavar and facetvar. And I think we're going to do variable choices for this one because it has a label on the column, and I just want to pull that in as well. So it's going to be quite straightforward. Stratavar. This is going to be choices selected, and then it's going to be choices. And then I know there's labels in the column, so I'm going to use variable choices, right? It's going to be ADTTE, and the subset is going to be, let's see, I think I put sex and biomarker 2. Yes. But there's no default selected, so we leave that as null. Let's quote that. Okay. There's no select, so we just leave it as null. I think we're going to do the same with sorry, I went too far. Yeah, we're gonna do the same with the other one. So maybe just copy and paste this line. Remove that column. Facet 4. There you go. Okay, let's run this. All right, so we have a third module there. I'm gonna click game plot. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. There's this endpoint where we can change between different parm cd. Actually, that looks a little bit too long for me, so we'll fix. Oh yeah, I forgot there's a note about this, but we'll fix that. So you can see here, this is that value choices come in play. So you tell what column that should be the value, and then what column should be the labels for that value. And we pass variable choices for this. So now our some of our categories here has some labels on it. It's just gonna help whoever reviewing this. We could have done the same here too, but I just want to showcase that you don't have to if you don't want to. And let's make this plot a little bit smaller. I think there's a third. Yep. So there's a plot height. Let's see. Oh, okay. So there are 3 numbers. I already think what I want to put in. The first number is what is the height if you want when the app first loaded, and then the second number is the minimum height, and then the third number is the maximum height. And so let me add that in. I think within this, let's do to comma. We're just gonna do that, and then I'll take this on. There you go. So now if I run this, the plot should be in a more concise height that I can see right away. Well, you get the point. I think this is a little bit crunched up, but you can also change this on the fly too. You don't have to, and a user can always change this. And this is another good features that we have for each of our module. Whatever your screen type looks like, you can always change this. Okay, wow, that's the fourth exercise we've done so far. And that's the end of it. Let me go back to the chat and see if there's any question. I'm going to go down to top then, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff here. What shortcut you using for double inverted comma? Which one is that? Which one is double inverted? But yeah, I like shortcuts. I don't know what you meant. Double inverted comma. Do you mean like if I type something like this, like that? So I think that's just come from the IDE. If you highlight something and you put a double quote, it just double quoted right away. Yes, this session is recorded. Oh yeah, thanks for answering that. Yes, I will be posting them with the rest. I think what I'm gonna do, because I may have accidentally saved what I'm doing here. I think I'm gonna do. I may not gonna push what you see here because I was doing with the exercise code. So the repo that you have should have the repo that I put on the GitHub. It should have the code file like empty, so you can play around with that, and the answers within the answer folder right here. Missing level. Is it possible to force to display missing level even if no missing value? Is it possible? It depends on how the module is designed. If the again, the flexibility is within the modules. If you want the module to do this specific feature and it's not available currently for that module, then that's something we need to brainstorm and discuss about. There is a possibility to create 2 levels of headers. So I'm talking about like, what if you have a tab module, right? And then within that tab, you want to have another 2 modules. Yes, you can. And that's why we have this modules, which is a plural, and module singular. So in theory, you can do, let me open a new screen. When you pass your module argument like so, you can do modules, right? And in the past, what we've been doing is that we always do, we call a module directly, whether that TMT, whatever, right? But you can also do modules again, and then you pass the module. So what happened is for this module, and then if you want to add another module, you can do just a singular module here with just that TMT, whatever. But what happened is when a user click this module, there's going to be a top set panel underneath it. And you'll see this on our teal gallery. I'll show you where you can some examples how to do this. But really, that's the bottom line. This is what you need to do. This kind of structure that what you need to do. So just there's an S3 generic method that's being run for this class. If it recognizes a teal modules a class, it's just going to repeat until it gets to the bottom level before it creates content of the module. Okay. Is it possible to have a unique summary from different cities data set? Yeah, so right now the TMT summary, I guess the way it's designed is only for one data set. So if you want to have 2 TMT summary for 2 data set, you have to make a second one. But perhaps that would be a good use case of what I think this is a related question, probably from the same user. Yep, from Peter Schmidt. This is a good use case. So for the modules, you can have like, maybe the label would be, summary table, right? And then within the modules, you call TMT summary twice, like this is the first TMT summary. and then you're gonna call, sorry, not like that. It's like this because TMT summary is already a module. This is the first one, and then you call a second TMT summary as well. And then this is for, I don't know, ADSL, and this is for ADAE. And then that way you can just, you can put all the summary table on one modules. Does the table contain synthetic data? I think partially. I mean, you'll see it's just a very low number of data, but we do have another packet that has synthetic data, that's called SCDA. You can take a look at that. That's also part of our NEST initiative. But yeah, if you can just look in Pharmaverse for SCDA, that's another example data that you can play around with. Okay, I think I should be moving forward. All right. I think we're almost at the finish line, guys. I hope you guys enjoying this so far. The next exam and the last exercise is when the spot where you make your TLAB, you work with your stakeholder, and they already know their pattern. For this module, I want to do this filter. For that module, I want to do that filter, right? And this is where I want to introduce the new feature again that we released in August is module-specific filter. So if you know what your stakeholder wants to subset in a module, we can apply that right away. So this is kind of built up. This file is a build up from our previous exercises. So remember again, if we want to add the default filters, it's going to be on the filter argument, right? So let's take a look at the filter argument. What does it require? If you recall, it takes teal slices. Yeah, it takes teal slices. Now, the module specific is actually in the teal slices function. So if I do like this. All right, so I want to introduce, we look at the count type before, and that's when we see the visualization of your data for unfiltered and filtered data. And then now we're gonna touch this to module specific. In order to enable the module specific filters, you're gonna set this to true, and then we're gonna provide some mapping. And whatever I said here is actually here on the documentation. So let's do that. Again, for filters, I know it needs teal slices, right? There are some ellipses in the beginning, which we will do, but just so that I don't forget, I know this has to be true, right? And then I know there's going to be mapping involved later. So this mapping, it's take a nameless if you read the instruction. So maybe just before I get started, I'm just gonna make these skeleton like so. And I know in order to set some default filter, I have to make teal slice. So this is where you specify what is the selected value for a variable in a data set. Okay. All right. So before we can even link which filter to which module, we have to make the filter first. And so that means we have to make a teal slice for every filter first, including the global filters. Okay. So the instruction that I got from my statistician is that I want to see this on that mod, on the TMT events module. I want to see this filter on TMT summary, but I want these two filters to apply on all three modules, right? There's no instruction on the CAM plot, and I did that on purpose. So let's do this. First, we're gonna add a filter for safety flag. It's gonna be yes. It's gonna be fixed and anchored. So apparently our analysts don't want to change this at all. So that's fine. Let's put that in. So the teal slice. Let me just pull that so that I recall again. And this is, again, I hope this is what you're doing too, because this is what I'm doing, even though I'll look at this every single time. I just kind of remind myself again what argument that I need to pass. So the data name will be this is safety flag, so ADSL, and then the var name is a safety flag, right? And then it will be yes, fixed and anchored. Okay, so selected is yes, and fixed and anchored means that it's going to be true. Anchored is going to be true. Great. So that's one of them. For TMT events, it also want to do the same thing. If it want to do the same thing, we don't need to repeat this because we can call the same slices again on when we start mapping. There's one thing that I want to be sure. When you want to use the module specific filter, there is an ID argument here. This ID argument is necessary if you pass an expression. If you don't pass it, the ID will try to come up with, say, a default ID. But because I want to control this for the mapping, I'm just going to call this right away. So here, maybe I'll just say A is AFFL, like so. And this will make sense later when we do the mapping. So just to recap again, I don't need to do this because I can just use the same slice when I apply to this module. There is a series events that wants to be added, not fixed, but just anchored. And there's no selected, there's no default value. So that's fine. So AE series event, and then AE series event. So there's nothing selected. I don't think it's even fixed. Yeah, it's not even fixed. It's just they just want to anchor so they can play around with the selection. So that's good so far. Now we have a grade 3 plus. Okay, so this is something that I add myself because once I see there are two variables here together, that's actually my trigger. Okay, maybe this is a custom expression. So let's do that. This is for grade 3 plus a related event. So I can do. And remember, if we're doing custom expression, we don't need to provide variable, the var name. It's just gonna be expression like so. And I guess for simplicity, I already prepped this for us, like so. Okay, so maybe here I just call it grade 3 plus. I'll put a title. The title is just going to show as an like a label for that filter card. So the title would be, I like this one. Let me just copy this. Like so. Okay, so far so good. Then let me stop here first. I just want to make sure that all my filters can be mapped appropriately, and then we'll tackle the global filter later. All right, so we got all the filters in. We have to map them together. If you read the documentation again, let me go to the mapping part. If I'm looking at the right one, of course I'm not, because this is still slice. If I come in here, there you go. So this is a filters, blah, 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 elements of complaint. That's right. The name of the list should correspond the teal module label set in module. Okay, so the name of the module is what is the label. And if we want to associate a filter to a module, that's what we need to do. We need to, for example, for TMT summary, it will go like this, and then that's the name of the element for this list, and then we can apply what filter that what we want to assign to this module. And based on my instruction, we only want to do the safety evaluable flag, so we'll do something like this. I hope that's clear and straightforward. Let's do the same with the other ones, TMT events. And this is why we don't need to redo this slice anymore, so that I can just call what is the label for TMT events. That's the label. You can do this, and then I can call the same slice ID again, so it'll apply for this module as well. but I know we have more modules, I mean, more filters that we want to do for this module. So we'll take 2 more. And the AID. Maybe I shouldn't put plus. Let me just do this. You know what? I'm curious. let's see if that works. Let's see this. It should be okay though. All right. Is there anything else that we missed? Nope. Okay, let's try to run this. Okay, there's something going on. Let's see what happens. All right, so that's my first blunder so far. We're not supposed to be including the the data set name here on the expression. So let me remove that because there's no column called that in ADAE. So let me remove that. There you go. I'm not perfect, guys. There we go. Much better. All right, so if I see demographic, I should see one fixed and anchored. Perfect. AE table. It works. There you go. And so there's our custom expression. The safety population flag should still be there, right? Because we associate this filter to 2 modules. Now, if I click on KM plot, there should be nothing. There's nothing. Perfect. All right, so far so good. We have achieved module filter specific feature here. Okay, so there are a couple more last things that we need to do. We want to add global filters to all the 3 modules. Let's come back again to our documentation. So ID listed in global filters will active in all modules. So if you look down here, the usage is like so. Okay, so what I could do, I know within my mapping, I need to pass something like global filters. And that's the name for that element, for that list. But I do need to make the filter slices first. So we're gonna make it for 2 of these, okay? One is gonna be female and young adults. Okay, so let's do that. The female should be quite straightforward, and ADSL, and then this is gonna be in sex column. Selected would be female, and I do want to have ID with it. And that will be sex, like so, right? So far, so good. Does it want to be fixed or anchored or anything? Fixed, okay. So no change on selection. Great. What's the next one? Young adult, this could be an expression. Let me just do an expression on that one. So I don't, again, if it's an expression, we don't need to specify a variable here because the second position is for var name. Let's just call the argument name, and we'll just pass, oops, that didn't pass. Did I not copy it? Let me copy this. And it's gonna be fixed. So like so. Like so. If we don't need selected, there you go. All right. So for global filters, it's just going to be sex and age. Actually, maybe I don't make the sex. I just make this young adult. And I'll add a title to this too, so that it's clear. Okay. All right. The young adult and sex should be fixed. Right. Perfect. Oh, and I like the count type equal all. Let me just add that in just so that you can see what that looks like. All right, let's run this. There you go. We got more filters now for hopefully for all 3 modules. This is fixed. User can't change it. For this, I can click and see selection, but for custom expression, I can't. For a table, yep, I see this too as well. And we didn't assign anything on game plot before, yeah? So now it should have 2 filters. There you go. Perfect. And with that, we're done. Oh my gosh. We finished all the exercises. So let me stop here and let me read the chat. Can this work for non-CDS data? Yes, we can. I think if you watch the recording again, you see how like the exercise number 2, this is with a non-CDS data. Went to the server UI default by design, DT table. So it looks like the function inside the modules went to the server and the UID is default design, which is right. Yeah, so the UI is a control in the module. So if you're curious and you look at our teal module, just one of the function in teal modules, clinical general, you always see something like there's a name and there's like a UI at the end, and you can see what UI is being used. There are some generic modules that we're using DT, but I believe most of the clinical we're using another R package that we developed called R tables, and that's what we're using. Can we save the tables as PDF or docs? We should be able to. Let me try. There should be an option. Oh, maybe not tables, but let's take a look. So if you look at the table, there's a, yeah, you can. There's a drop down here. You can, I should have covered that. Yes. So if you see a table or visualization, you can download it right away. If you want to download a PDF, you can too. And I think that's the same case with visualization. Yeah, that button's still there. So you can download it. Yep. Oh, sorry, let me go back again to chat. What does app server do? Does it have any function in the example shown? Okay, well, somebody already answered it. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. SCDA, do you have a link to that sync data? Okay. Let me open this. I think it's on Inside Engineering. So that's the organization for most of our project. SCDA. There it is. So this is the so this is what you, in order to use the data, which is the synthetic data is here, but you also have to install SCDA. You can read the instruction on this. It'll tell you how to use it. But yeah, if you go to Inside Engineering organization, go repository, find SCDA, it's right here. This is already archived, so don't use that one. Just use 2022. Okay. All right, I think I'll stop now. I think it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I do have a couple more things that I want to showcase. Just the teal universe product map. Again, I just want to make sure that we are clear on this distinction between teal framework and teal modules. So all these features that you see on teal, like the filter panel, the snapshot manager. Oh, that reminds me, I want to do a little bit explanation on snapshot manager. I'll do that after this. But we kind of separate that between the framework and the module. So when you see that reproducibility, some of the reporting features, the filter panel, that's what we call the teal framework. And then the insight part, the one that you see in the left-hand side and in the middle, where you have the output, that's where we control it with teal module. So if you have any question about how the module, how you want the module to be displayed differently, that's the teal module's job. And this is a great design for us, because then we can split the distinction between the two. People who wants to enter teal to collaborate, modules is that lower, an easier path to enter. you just need to understand Shiny module, which is not hard at all. It's just about adding namespacing to your ID. Then you can play around on how your module should look like. We have what we call the teal widgets that kind of help you create this UI on the fly. Like, for example, if you like the output have like the left-hand side like this and the right-hand side for tables and outputs or visualization, we have like a one function that you can call and specify some argument. It'll make that for you. So the UI and server already being configured for you to just simply use it. And whatever engine that you see on the inside is being handled differently as well. So this is what we call a calculation package. So for the teal module clinical, we use something that called turn, which is also being fed from an R tables. And this different module focusing on different things like what is that? Early phase exploration or biomarker or MAE. So we have a different calculation packages for those as well. All right, so before I move forward, I'm going to come back, because now that I talk about it, I remember I'm supposed to be showcasing some of the features that you have in teal. Again, it's because you don't control this. It just comes out of the box for when you are using teal framework. So I've shown you guys the show R code, right? And I've shown you guys the snapshot manager as well. I want to show you the reporter. So the reporter means that if you look into different modules and you like what you're seeing, one way to kind of reproduce this, of course you can click on R code, show R code buttons, but if you like a couple of them, we want to provide a better way than just clicking show R code button over and over again. That's where we have this reporter feature. So let's assume you like this table. You can add this table, right? So I'll just say that demographic table, and I can add that. So what happened is in teal, we'll hold that for you. So you can still shop around to see if you like any other analysis to add to your report. And if you do, then you can add another table, another card. So I can, let's say I like this, or maybe I don't want any filters at all. And I just add that. And I can just say can plot like so. Right. So now if I come here, I have two cards now. One can plot with no filter states, and the second one does have some filter state, and here's my table. And if you click download report, then I'm not sure you can, here we go. So it'll give you a lot of contents here. You have the HTML file, which is the result of your report. It also gives you PNG file. If you have more than one visualization, you'll have multiple PNG files. The table that you see is being stored in RDS file. And if you want to add content, more content to your report, you can simply just open that RMD file. You can make changes here, and you can need it right again. And it should give you the same results with the one that you see in your HTML file. So here I'm just reading this again, and I can see it again like so. The other feature that we haven't really show you is we are working on something new. So if you like, when you play around with this, you're adding another filter. So let's say for game plot, I'm just going to show country, and I'm just going to pick USA like so. And I look around the other modules. I like all the other filters from the other modules. What you could do, you can take a snapshot. So let me take, I'll just say F1, for example, right? So with what happened is now teal take a snapshot of all your filters that happening in all the modules. So if you look around and say maybe you remove some filters, and you're so far in your analysis, and I don't like this anymore, I just want to come back again to whatever what I had previously. so you can restore that state. Come on. Let me see on the other. Okay, I think we know about this bug as well. We already fixed it, but you should be able to restore that state, and you can download the result here. Yeah, so this is what it's like a JSON file. We know what that looks like, and it should be able to restore it right away to. Maybe I'm pretty sure this worked on our dev branch already. I should have tested, but yeah, we'll fix this. But that's something to look forward to. We also have ability to restore a snapshot. All of this is experimental, so I really do apologize if we have a little bit hiccup here and there. But if you're curious about that snapshot manager, I also want to show. Oh, maybe this will be better. We do have a teal gallery. I think that's the next on my presentation. Let me open this link for you, and I think this will be much better. So if I open, so this is our teal gallery website that I also put on the presentation. In this teal gallery website, we kind of create some app based on specific categories. So if you're doing exploratory analysis, this could be what your app looks like. And if you're doing some efficacy or patient profile, this is what your teal app could look like. There is a repo on teal gallery, and you can look at the code on how we make this. And so that's all open source. But perhaps now I can do a much better job on showcasing the uploading of the snapshot. I won't do the stable anymore. I'm gonna pull it from our dev website here. So bear with me, guys. Give me opportunity to redeem myself. So it probably takes a while because it's trying to load several modules here, but we should be good to go. All right, so I'm just gonna do it really quickly. Maybe I go to, I don't know, say distribution. I have some this, and let me add some countries maybe. And then I select everything except USA. Right. Then let me take a snapshot of that. Let's say USA, and I accept that. Right. If I look around and I decided that, you know, if I remove some stuff and I don't like this anymore, I want to come back, I can restore that USA. There you go. You get restored. So when you take a snapshot, it takes the snapshot of all the modules. And because when you do it on the fly of your teal app, it's applied globally. So now if I go back to distribution, yeah, you still see that country there. Okay, phew, I'm glad that I'm able to show you this. But yeah, look around in our teal gallery if you're interested. We do have several examples of what your teal could look like based on the different category. We have a dev version too, which the one that you just saw just now. Yeah, if you're interested in what we're doing and you give us some new features, we may want to get your input on playing around with it, and we make everything public. If you want to run it locally, there's some instruction on this as well. All right, let's see if there's anything else that I missed. All right, so we're almost at the end here. There's some support, additional resources for some support. We are part of a Pharmaverse. So if you go to the website, pharmaverse.org, you should be able to find teal. It just point you to our repository. If you want some support in Pharmaverse, that's the link there. I said it earlier, we do have a teal Slack channel under the Pharmaverse workspace, and we are working on Coursera course on hands-on clinical reporting using R. I believe we're already finalizing this, so please keep your ears on that.
I think
if you like,
I was going to say, I think there's a talk on that at R and Pharma next week.
Nice.
Okay.
We are looking for collaborators. We have some collaborators from other companies already, but we still look for more collaborators. If you're interested and if you find this useful, please do let us know, and maybe we can work something out. Our product owner is Chendi, and if you want to get in touch with us and co-develop this, please do reach out to her. And with that, I'm done. Wow, that's what, 2 hours, 22 minutes. I hope you guys enjoy this. I do enjoy it. But yeah, I'm glad this is recorded. I don't know if there's any more questions. Let me just quickly check if there's any other questions. And
while you're looking at that, I got to say, I'm impressed. 2.5 hours, not a single break, not even doing the questions yourself. Sometimes I feel like I try to help read the questions out loud, but you've been on it. So thank you so much. And I know I greatly appreciate, I'm sure everybody does, the amount of effort that you put into this today is phenomenal. And thank you so